All right, time for, yeah, okay. Let's try that. And we're gonna do a video. Hey everybody, Ron Bielefeld, Whistling Wings Photography. Welcome to another video. The Canon R5 Mark II and the Canon R1. They were both introduced in 2024, announced. It's been almost 2 years since I've been using both of these bodies almost exclusively for my bird photography. So I thought it was time to, hey, why am I still using the R1 and the R5 Mark II? Why haven't I settled on, I want 2 R1s or I want 2 R5 Mark IIs? I really need to have 2 bodies because I travel and I do these things, and if one body stops working, gotta have a backup. But I haven't settled on one, and that's the point of this video. Why do I still shoot both these bodies? And the other question is, if I could only have one of these, which one would it be? Well, if you want to know my thinking on this, stay tuned. Okay, so here we are with the Canon R1 and the Canon R5 Mark II. And like I said in the intro to this video, I still shoot both of them a lot. And there's one basic reason why that is. It's because for me, for my bird photography it's so varied in what we do, in the scenarios that we shoot. From small, little, fast birds to big, slow birds, to birds that are really far away, to birds that are really close, to birds that are almost static, to birds that are really fast, to shooting in deep rainforest, to shooting in really bright sunlight or snow even, stuff like that. It's just, it's infinite. The scenarios we shoot in, there's still not one body, for me anyway, that will do everything. Will we ever get to that point? We're pretty close. I think we're closer than we've ever been to having an all-around body. Can you get away with just one body? Well, of course. But I've chosen to stick with the R1 and the R5 Mark II, and I shoot them in the scenarios that they fit the best in, that they fit best too. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the R1. What is this camera to me? When do I use it? Well, let's get right to it. It's my specialist body, really. I shoot it less than I do my R5 Mark II, but when I need it, I really need it. I need it for its speed, 40 frames per second, no rolling shutter issues with electronic shutter, 40 frames per second, the fastest, most accurate autofocus I've ever used. I use it when I have fast action situations that really don't give you any warning. Like things just are coming in, there it is. There it comes. It's not like, here it comes, wait, that kind of thing. And then it gets there and you're doing your thing. No. Like a good example, when I just did a tour up in Canada not too long ago, early spring, and these birds would just show up coming into these potholes. and they were relatively close, but it was fast. They were fast. It was windy. Didn't give me a lot of time to react. This camera, super fast. In all respects, it's the best for that. Another scenario where this is the best. Low light. 24 megapixel, large pixel pitch. Large pixels on a full frame sensor. Does unbelievably well in low light. I can shoot 30,000 ISO with this camera, and as long as I'm not cropping much, and I don't crop much with this camera because it's 24 megapixels. That's the limitation here. We'll talk about that in a minute. But in low light, when I don't have to crop a lot, this camera, the R1, it's just amazingly good. The low noise, the image quality you get. So that's the big deal with this camera, is speed and low light. And I shoot in those scenarios, and when those scenarios present themselves, this is the camera I have in my hand. I said the limitation here, 24 megapixels. It's a little too little in some scenarios. So now let's talk about the R5 Mark II. 45 megapixels. Resolution isn't really a problem with this camera. It's my small bird camera. It's my, oh, you know what? I'm going to go back to this real quick. This is also what I go to when I have when I have fast action, or birds in flight, but it's long-lived type scenarios. You know, snail kites are a great example of that because the buffer in this camera is really, really large. I can shoot forever at 40 frames per second pretty much. Doesn't slow down. So I get all the action even in long sequences. You can do that with this at 45 megapixels, but you have to slow it down. Can't even do 30 frames per second if you don't want to worry about running out of buffer space. You'll hit a buffer wall with this. If you're shooting 30 frames per second, 45 megapixels, C-RAW, which is all I shoot. But if you're shooting, like I was saying, it's a small, if I have to crop because the birds are small, or even if they're bigger birds, but I can't get close to them, as close as I'd like, even though sometimes I'll shoot 1200 millimeters. You know, there's problems with that too, as atmospherics and stuff like that. So that can be a limitation. The 45 megapixels really comes into play here. The noise on this camera at higher ISOs is more because these are small pixels. The pixel pitch is small on this sensor compared to this one. And so, you know, but it's not bad. It's really not bad. But I won't pick it if I don't have to worry about cropping and it's low light. I'm not going with this. Like I said, I'm going with this. When else do I shoot this? I mean, if I've got good light and everything, and I want the ultimate detail on my birds, even if they're big in the frame, it's not all about cropping with 45 megapixels. There's another big advantage of 45 megapixels, and that's that you can get a ton of pixels on subjects that are bigger in the frame. You want the ultimate detail where it looks like you're holding the bird in your hand. The detail is all there. Man, 45 megapixels does it for me. So if I'm in those scenarios, don't have to worry about low light, don't have to worry about really fast action, stuff like that. Birds big in the frame even. Not worried about cropping, but I want the resolution, I want the detail. Right here, right here, right here, right here. Okay. The R5 Mark II. In the end, you know, the autofocus of this camera is not bad. It's really good, but it's not as snappy and as fast as the R1. Could I use this in the fastest scenarios? Sure, I have, because sometimes that kind of stuff happens when you're not expecting it. It's not the scenario you're in shooting, but that stuff happens, and I can't just switch immediately in an instant. I'm shooting this, and I don't have this sitting right here with another 600 f4 attached to it. I only have one of those. Okay, 600 f4 is really expensive. So yeah, sometimes I do find myself in that scenario, and I'm holding this body, so I'm shooting those scenarios with this body, and it still works okay. Don't get as many frames as I would with this one, stuff like that, but it works okay. But it's not optimal. That's what we're talking about here, optimizing things. Getting the most, by doing this, by shooting this and this in the scenarios that they're meant for me, I optimize the number of awesome images I get. I get more of the photos I want or need. That's kind of the point. So, if I could only have one of these, it would be this one. It would be the R5 Mark II. It is more versatile. I find it fills more of this, it fills the need in more of the shooting scenarios I do. A lot of times. So, this would be the body I'd go with if I could only have one of them, because it's a little bit more versatile. Now, let's talk about the R1 in the sense of, hey, if they would just bring up, because it's kind of the resolution thing a lot with birds. We can't get away from that. For cropping, if I have to crop up to 50%, I crop 50% with this, and I'm at 12, 10, megapixels, and yes, that can be okay. I'm not going to get into the whole debate about how much resolution do you need on your subject to keep the detail you need, because it really just depends. It depends so much on what you're going to do with your pictures, with your images. Are you just going to stick them on Instagram? Well, fine, no problem. I mean, crop, go ahead. You're going to blow them up really big. Okay, you're going to print them big. Like maybe you can't see it, but I'll show you what's over on my wall right here, okay? You're not going to do that and see a lot of detail. There's a reason why when you go to print you send your images off to have them printed, and they'll come back and say, well, the resolution isn't enough to print that big and keep the detail in your subject. There's a reason for that. But anyway, if let's just say the R1 Mark II, Canon comes out and they say it's 32 megapixels. Let's see, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. They're going to say, well, some people are going to say, well, the difference between 24 and 32 is nothing. Oh, no, it is. It's a lot. It's 8 megapixels. So let's think about it this way. I crop an image from the 24 megapixels, 50% or a little bit more, and let's just keep it easy, and it's down to 12. Well, now add 8 onto that. That's 20. That's almost back up the full frame on here. That makes a difference to me in a functional way. Printing and stuff. Using things the way I use them, high definition stuff. It matters. Now, you bring this up to 30. How about 36 megapixels? Not even 45, but 36. 32, 36. Okay, now it's 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, 33, 34, 35. That's 12 megapixels more. So that 12 megapixel image, if I crop this now by 50%, becomes a full frame shot with this camera. It makes a difference. 32 or 36 megapixel, the R1 Mark II, and this camera, and it does everything the way it does now. This camera wins, and I keep this one and get rid of my R5 Mark II. Of course. Because it really does kind of come down to that for me, for what I do, for my bird photography, my wildlife photography, which is mostly birds and flight. So there you have it. That's where I am with these two bodies after almost 2 years of shooting them. a lot. I can't tell you how many images I've taken with each of these bodies. Hundreds of thousands of, I don't know, maybe a million. I don't know. A lot. And so maybe this will help you, in your decision on what to do. It really depends on what you do most, what scenarios you find yourself in most when you're shooting birds. But like I started this out saying, you know, we find ourselves as bird photographers in so many different shooting situations. Low light, high light, snow, small birds, big birds, all, you know, on and on and on. The most versatile camera, I think, that Canon has right now. Don't have to worry about rolling shutter in this camera. You're thinking, okay, well, let's get away from just these two. But what about the new R6 Mark III? I did a review on that, by the way, and if you want to see what I thought about it, you can. It's usually, where do I usually put it? Here? I don't know. There's a little tag up there somewhere that'll take you to that video. But anyway, you know, it's a great camera. But if you're going to shoot in electronic shutter, you're going to get rolling shutter. All right, that's the limitation of that versus this camera. Okay, so that's why we're talking about these, and that's why I shoot these. I don't shoot the R6 Mark III. It's an awesome camera for the price point, but it has rolling shutter in the if you shoot electronic shutter. So, well, hopefully this will help you, you know, make a decision or whatever about which camera you would get, or to keep both, or whatever. And hey, let me know what you think about this in the discussion. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. I know some of you will think I'm just, you know, bonkers or whatever. Or, hey, it's nice that you can afford both of those and stuff. And I get that. It is. I feel fortunate that I can have both of these cameras and really tailor my body usage to the scenario I find myself in. So I'm going to end it there. I didn't even have to look at my notes, which that's unusual. Usually I forget everything that I want to say, and maybe I did forget something. But hey, I hope you found this helpful. Until next time, have great light, get great images. Most importantly, be safe out there. I'll see you soon.